All right, so today we're going to start talking about your shelf design and development. So students that are in the classroom, I will kind of talk to you about what you have put on your brainstorming. And students that are Edge, you and I will connect about what your final design is going to look like, because you will still need to make your design on the computer. So once you and I talk about what your project is going to look like and how you're actually going to construct it in the shop, you will need to build it in the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to Onshape. And the example that I am going to do, why did I go that way when I could just click here? The example that I'm going to do is for the base shelf. So this is the shelf that I am going to be designing in the computer. Now, even if you choose in the shop to route an edge, you do not need to demonstrate that in the computer. It's not that you can't. It is a more advanced step that I don't require you to do in the computer. So you can just say, thank you, Mrs. Martin, because it's not that it's hard, it's just a little more complicated. So for this particular shelf, how many different parts am I going to need to create in the computer? I disagree. But I think I know why you said that answer. 3. Yes, 3 is right. Why is 3 the correct answer? Tony? Good. So I will need to create a top, a back, and bracket. Okay, those are the parts that I need to create in the computer. So your first mission should be to complete your parts. But one of the items before you can assemble, one of the things that we have to have a conversation about, though, before you can start building in here, and some of this is uncovered as you're building, you need to think about your construction methods and how you're joining boards. So specifically with, in this case, the brackets to the back, how are the brackets in the back being assembled? In this case, the brackets were on the outside of the backboard. I could have put that bracket to the inside of the backboard, but that would have changed the length. If I still wanted this to end here, I would have needed to make it 3/4 of an inch shorter. If I wanted this distance to be the same, I would have had to extend the backboard. So knowing if you're on the outside or the inside is important. So you're going to have to think about that as you are designing. So for this, I need 3 pieces. The parts are pretty darn simple to make. So as I'm doing them, I would name these shelf, and then I would come up with a good name. So in my case, this is my shelf top. And I know that this is a 1x8, and we're going to talk a little bit more. Your Wednesday assignment has to do with dimensional lumber. When we were working on our crates and using dimensional lumber, we were working with 1x4s. Is a 1x4 really 1 inch by 4 inches? No. When I'm drawing in the computer, did I draw a 1x4 1 inch by 4 inches? No. When I was drawing in the computer, I was drawing 3/4 of an inch by 3.5 inches. So on the example that I'm using, that shelf top is a 1x8. And I believe it is 32 inches, but I better check. It is 31.5 inches. And it is a 1x8. So does anybody know a 1x8? What the width of a 1x8 is? It is 7.25. 7.25. So I'd be ready to go ahead and extract it, and it is 3/4 inch material. And I'll come over here to make sure it's truly isometric. And this would be my top. Of course, then I do need to do a back and my brackets, and then they will eventually get assembled. Once we have a conversation, and some of you, I will probably have your conversations today. Once we have a conversation about your design, you will be ready to start building your design in the computer. And that is your first step. Your second step is going to be come up with a bill of materials, and we will use that bill of materials so I know what lumber needs to be ordered for the class to complete this project. Now I know that we all work at different paces. We're all at different points on our crate, which is fine. I did ask that last week that you finished your brainstorming for your shelves. Some of you had not done that. I did send an email out about that this morning because I need to have that brainstorming so I can have those conversations in class. When it comes to the bill of materials, I have to have your bill of materials on time. If I don't have your bill of materials, I cannot order lumber for your project. So if you do not have your brainstorming by tomorrow and I can talk about your design so you can get started on this part of the project, I can't guarantee that you're going to be able to do a shelf project because I may not have lumber for your project, which means a 0. Okay? Questions on that material? Alrighty.